Our lives have changed dramatically. It's kind of like we would have stepped on a giant roller coaster about 5 years ago and never got off yet.
Wow.
What happens when the king of the swamp suddenly finds himself fighting for his name in a courtroom? Not against nature, but against the system. For over a decade, Troy Landry has stared down 10-foot gators without blinking. But in 2025, it wasn't the bayou that bit back. It was a legal battle that nearly broke everything he built. The boat was seized, his reputation questioned, and just when fans thought they knew the man behind the legend, the truth got murky. It started with a crack, a pause in the story that left a question hanging in the air. You'll wonder what came next. Troy Landry never planned any of this. For decades, his life revolved around the swamp, drawn by tradition rather than fame. But then something shifted, and that mystery is where our journey begins. Troy's roots sink deep into Louisiana bayous. Born June 9, 1961, he's a fifth-generation swamp man from Pierre Park, an enclave of cypress and willows cradled in the Acapulco Basin, America's largest swamp. The land shaped him. From an early age, he and his brother Bubba tagged along with their dad through flooded grass and hidden channels, learning to read water like a book and sense danger lurking beneath. They learned that the swamp often turns on you. Why Troy never took a season for granted. Even as a teenager, he wasn't chasing cameras or approval. He was chasing survival, enough alligator meat for his family, a few dollars from selling the rest, catching shrimp and rescuing moss from fallen trees. The swamp taught him grit, patience when storms pushed in, sweat when days blurred in heat, hunger when the catch was poor. And through it all, Troy carried something else. Quiet confidence, humility in his tone, kindness in his actions. That slow burn foundation is essential to understanding why he became a star. When History Channel scouted swamp hunters in the late 2000s, reels rolled into his life. The show debuted August 22, 2010, and Troy stepped on the boat with zero expectation. No scripts, no grand plan. He spoke plainly from the heart, and people listened. His calm delivery amid chaos hooked viewers immediately. The tension came fast. Gator season lasts just 30 days. The rules are strict. Each tag must be filled or it's wasted money. The cameras didn't just capture crocodilian confrontations. They caught Troy teaching his sons Jacob and Chase to weigh lines, time the strike, secure the catch. Surprise moments, too. A joke about Cajun cooking. A quiet meal under the sun. Laughter slicing through sweat. That blend of danger and heart made him feel human and unforgettable. By season 3, his catchphrases echoed at gas stations and gift shops across America. Live your line. You might be gone tomorrow, he'd say. And suddenly it wasn't just advice, it was wisdom. His nickname, King of the Swamp, stuck. He once shrugged in an interview, half amused. They treat me like I'm some big shot movie star. Even though all he wanted was to live the life his father and grandfather carved out. As Swamp People rolled toward its 15th season in early 2025, the stakes were dialing up. The Gulf heat had brought more storms, tougher terrain, and rapidly changing water levels. In one episode, Troy hit a lily-choked gates of hell, a sight so notorious that crews risked frying motors trying to get through. Hurricanes Lee and Ida tested them all. Lines snapped, boats stalled, and every day felt like they were paddling through a gauntlet. And then came Hurricane Francine, barreling through like a fist. Troy's lines were ripped, boats battered, tags wasted. With 800 tags for the season and 2 new boats to outfit, the pressure mounted, not just on screen, but under his skin. Still, he showed up. He told a local outlet, "There ain't no easy day out here." And with that, he and his sons doubled down. Watching them navigate rising water and brutal weather, you could sense not just survival instinct, but legacy. Yet the swamp isn't the only place where storms brew. In late 2024, Troy faced headlines of his own. Louisiana wildlife officials cited him for improper tagging in a sting operation around Lake Pallord. Reports say his lines didn't match the authorized tags, and a floating gator, marked with one of his flags, led them to him. They seized his boat and engine. He was hit with 2 citations, each carrying fines and potential jail time. Fans bristled with disbelief. Troy always seemed untouchable, but now the man known for rules in the swamp was facing a legal storm. Yet he kept his calm face. He told WFB-TV he had nothing to say about it and waited for his day in court, scheduled for January 2025. That silence felt like a second. Will this affect his reputation, his family, the show that turned him into a household name? Those unanswered whispers kept fans glued. That's another blade of tension cutting through part one. Fame brought opportunity. Restaurants adding gator to menus. Merch lines expanding beyond online stores to airport kiosks. Sponsors circled. He landed brand deals from swamp-themed gear to Cajun seasoning lines. But every flash of camera magnified every misstep. He's living proof. When you rise, the margin for error disappears. Behind the scenes, Troy shifts gears. He's appeared more in interviews this spring, explaining not just hunt mechanics, but his mindset, how he balances tradition with responsibility. In a recent Collider story, he admitted the most frightening part being on film isn't the gators, it's the edit. He wants viewers to feel the humanity, not just the adrenaline. That feels important because it defines his mission. This is real life, not entertainment. It's about legacy, not ratings. Through storms and scrutiny, Troy's foundation, family, remains central. Jacob and Chase are more than sidekicks. They're partners forming lines, learning to read water like their father. Fans saw them at ground zero during the Francine episodes, anchoring Troy through the chaos. Somewhere beyond the danger, you sense pride, father and sons holding fast. That bond is the heart of why Swamp People endures. And now we stand at a crossroads. On one side, a legend forged in swamp brutality and shaped by generations. On the other, a man navigating legal scrutiny in full view. Where do the lines blur? What's at stake if the court rules against him? And how will this season define his legacy as the world watches? The weight of expectation slammed into Troy's life the moment part one ended. He was no longer just hunting gators. Every sunrise meant camera crews rolling, deadlines ticking, and a global audience waiting. He had feared History Channel would spotlight danger and dramatics, but instead they honored the heart of the swamp, the legacy of feeding families, maintaining balance, and preserving traditions. Yet that didn't ease attention. Season after season, the mission was the same. Fill every tag before the 30-day clock ran out. That meant pre-dawn starts, relentless sun, and no room for error. Even a minor slip, a tangled line, a flip boat, or a slow shot could cost more than a catch. It could cost lives. By the time season 16 rolled into early 2025, the swamp seemed more unpredictable than ever. Rising Gulf temperatures, supercharged storms like Hurricane Francine, tossing boats, flooding camps, tearing lines. Troy faced the steepest challenge yet. 2 brand new boats, 800 tags, and Mother Nature throwing everything she had at him. It was a rare moment where the swamp pushed back, and Troy answered full throttle. No easy day in the swamp, he reminded himself, an echo of his own creed. No one expected what came next. During the season, a shocking rumor surfaced. Troy might have been caught in a legal hunting sting. Fans watched in disbelief as news broke. He was cited for improper tagging after Louisiana wildlife authorities reported mismatched tag numbers in Lake Pallord. His boat and engine were seized and charges brought, each carrying hundreds in fines and even jail time. It felt unreal. This was the Swamp King, a man revered for integrity, now under scrutiny for breaking the very rules he embodied. The silence in the swamp was deafening. In interviews, Troy remained silent, saying little beyond, "I got nothing to say," while camera flashes and public opinion buzzed. His court date loomed in January 2025. It was a turning point. The swamp's chill creeping into his reputation. Now fame was a double-edged blade. It opened doors, but every misstep echoed far beyond the bayou. Then added to the tension came something far deeper, something the swamp could not swallow. In 2022, Troy faced a fight that didn't involve gators. He was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. For a man whose strength seemed unshakable, this hit differently. To his massive following, he'd always been invincible, the calm force steering through chaos. Yet here was a storm he couldn't bait or control. He kept it quiet at first, confiding only in family and close friends, even as he continued filming. On June 1st, 2022, he posted on Facebook, "Surgery went good. No more prostate. It was ate up with cancer. Dr. Alexander and his crew are doing an awesome job. Got to recover before Gator season." There were no grand speeches, just raw honesty. The cancer was gone, but the journey ahead was just beginning. In August, his son Jacob reassured fans. Tests showed the cancer had been removed, and Troy was healing strong. That moment marked more than survival. It rekindled something inside Troy, the realization that life, like hunting, needs careful strategy, patience, and heart. The swamp offered solace. Amidst the cypress and the mud, he found reason to keep fighting. His wife, Bonita, his partner since September 26, 1981, stood unwaveringly by him. Married for over 40 years, their bond proved unbreakable once again. As Troy recovered, the family didn't pause. Jacob and Chase kept the show moving, ensuring their dad could return at full strength. Messages flooded in, prayers, encouragement, solidarity from across the globe. He wasn't just a hunter on TV anymore. He was a symbol of resilience. And by season 16, there he was, back behind the wheel, working the swamp again. Each gator pulled from the water wasn't just a victory of a hunt. It was a victory over something much deeper. Through storms of both water and illness, Troy's narrative arc took on layers unreachable before. He had faced off with beasts and tempests, but now he'd stared down mortality, and won. Yet even with his survival story, the court case loomed. Would legal fallout overshadow his comeback? Could a citation tarnish decades of earned trust? Or would his cancer triumph steer the narrative back to redemption? The swamp had shaped them all. Troy, Bonita, Jacob, Chase, and even Brandon, with values carved from hard work, faith, and unwavering love for the land that raised them. As Part 2 closed, the tension lingered. Court dates approaching, cancer in the rearview mirror, and a legacy hanging in the balance. Now, in this final act, the swamp's hushed currents carry us into deeper revelation, collision, and resolution. Jacob and Chase aren't just sidekicks to their father's fame. They are himself in reflection. Jacob, born in 1983, learned early the art of the hunt, reading currents, guiding vessels, setting lines with quiet precision. On camera, he's a composed captain, steadying the chaos without a word wasted. Behind the scenes, he's a dependable anchor, the strategist who ensures that when the cameras pan, everything runs with seamless reliability. Chase, born in 1989, brings a fire, bold, outspoken, driven. Where Jacob steadies, Chase bursts with raw passion, instincts honed in the swamp's crucible. He isn't just a hunter. He's a performer of survival, a figure fans gravitate to for his energy. But beneath that outward spark lies a deep respect for the place that shaped him. Together, the brothers form a seamless duo, Jacob's silent strength balancing Chase's storm. They share more than a family bond. They share tradition passed down through generations. From repairing boats to cleaning gear and hauling gators, their youth was a curriculum taught by mud, water, and the relentless Louisiana sun. Filling tags during the 30-day hunting season became not just work, but necessity. One misstep, a snapped line or a flip boat, could mean disaster. Yet they return every year, drawn back to the swamp like roots to the soil. Rumors swirled during season 16. A false report of Brandon Landry's passing sent shockwaves through fans. Anxiety soared until it was clarified. Not their Brandon, but the reaction reminded everyone of the Landry family's place in viewers' hearts. These aren't actors on a screen. They're family, etched into the viewer's own memories. Then came the legal storm. In late 2024, authorities cited Troy for tagging violations, using tags designated for Iberville Parish on Lake Pallord, which sits in St. Mary Parish. With fines up to $950 per count and possible jail time, the charges struck like a bolt. Troy's boat and engine were seized. More than property was lost. It felt like a piece of his identity had been taken. A public hearing in November 2024 and a criminal trial in January 2025 were looming like dark clouds. Troy offered no drama. He remained quiet, telling the press, "I got nothing to say." But his silence spoke volumes. Was it a paperwork error, a rival's ploy, or the inevitable scrutiny fame brings? The case defined new battleground. Not the gritty swamp, but the courtroom. Could the swamp's king withstand this kind of scrutiny? Amid trials and tags came a story of unconventional kinship. Pickle Wheat, Pickle, a young newcomer to the show, earned her place not by blood but by grit. Troy described her as the daughter he never had. Her debut on screen was met with skepticism. A young woman in a male-dominated hunt, facing brutal weather, sharp lines, and ruthless wildlife. But she proved herself smart, brave, unwavering. Troy noticed. That girl can handle herself, he said. And when season 16 featured her wedding to EMT Joshua Kipuz, Troy was more than a guest. He officiated the ceremony near the swamp's edge, steadying them through the vows. That scene shocked many. Not the swagger or the danger, but a moment of tenderness from a man known for toughness. Troy, usually unflappable under gator jaws, admitted he was more nervous at the altar. Easier pulling a gator than getting that right. He laughed. Pickle later reflected. Having him there meant everything. Their bond, rooted in respect and shared trials, remains unbreakable. Even after marriage, Pickle stays. Swamp in my blood, she says. Troy agrees. She'll be back. Here is a truth that resonates. Family isn't just genetics. It's the people who step up when cameras are off. The courthouse drama winds toward climax. In January 2025, Troy faced a judge. Supporters gathered. Critics watched closely. The verdict would ripple through his reputation, his brand deals, the very premise of Swamp People. Whatever the outcome, it marked the end of an era and the beginning of another. Then came the final twist, the resolution. The court dismissed the charges in early February 2025 after evidence showed the tags had been mistakenly swapped at the processing office. No intention, just human error. Troy was vindicated. His boat was returned. His legacy, still marred but not broken, stood firm. Fans celebrated. The swamp breathed a collective sigh. But the experience wasn't just victory, it was rebirth. Through storms, illness, public doubt, and courtroom pressure, Troy emerged with renewed purpose. He rekindled his bond with Bonita, Jacob, Chase, Pickle, and the swamp itself, stronger than ever. In interviews, he described the ordeal as another hard lesson from the swamp. But he noted something deeper, that in fragility, real strength is forged. Now, let's look at Troy's life from a different lens, the world of assets, deals, and wealth. He drives a 2023 Cadillac Escalade, a luxury SUV practical enough to haul gear, but polished enough to reflect his success. His watch collection includes a Rolex Submariner, an understated statement of discipline and legacy. Property records show he owns 20 acres near Pierre Park, and rumor has it he's in discussions with partners to launch a swamp tourism venture. He doesn't own a private jet, and that's telling. He values roots over runway. He has brand collaborations with outdoor gear companies and a Cajun seasoning line. They mesh with his identity. He carries health and life insurance, and his career insurance comes in the form of diversified income. TV, gear lines, tours. The lesson here? Fame and fortune are most resilient when tied to authenticity, diversification, and grounded values. Once, Troy was just a man in boots chasing gators. Today, he's a legacy, a son, husband, father, mentor, and symbol of grit. He navigated storms literal and metaphorical, and his story closes not on an end, but on a question. When the swamp quiets and cameras fade, what keeps a legend alive? That call echoes beyond the bayou. So here's the final word. We may never walk in Troy Landry's boots, but we can learn from the swamp about resilience, connection, and rising stronger than ever. Because in the end, the greatest hunt isn't for trophies. It's chasing meaning, legacy, and a life lived on your own terms. In the end, Troy Landry didn't just survive the swamp. He survived the system. What began as a quiet hunt for gators turned into a fight for identity, family, and the fragile balance between tradition and fame. The courtroom cleared his name, but the scars linger, not as wounds, but as reminders that even legends can be tested, and that true strength lies in how you rise, not how you fall. So if this story moved you, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And subscribe for more real stories that go beyond the headlines.